Alright, Shalom. Shalom. I want to give all the praise, all the glory, all the honor unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors goes out to the elder apostles of Great Millstone for teaching me the truth. Also want to acknowledge all the Akyam who are pushing the truth with sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And Shalom to the elect of the nation of Israel. This is Shabai from the GMS Denver camp, and I'm gonna just go in on a quick lesson. Running out of time over here working. I got to get this lesson in, and then go back to work later here in about a couple hours. So through the Spirit, pulled up Haggai, first chapter, and I'm gonna read it at the top. It says, "In the second year of Darius the king, in the 6th month, in the first day of the month, came the word of Yahweh by Haggai, the prophet, unto Zerubbabel, the son of Shealtiel, governor of Judah, and to Joshua, the son of Josedek, the high priest, saying, Thus speaketh Yahweh of hosts, saying, This people say, the time is not come. The time that Yahweh's house should be built." All right, talking about the temple, okay? Rebuild the temple. It says, "Then came the word of Yahweh by Haggai the prophet, saying, It is time for you, O ye, to dwell in your sealed houses, and the house lie waste." Like, these are people, they don't know what times we're in, they don't know how to measure the time diligently. They and at this point here, Yahweh was pretty much ready to cast our people off, Just like now, our people, the majority of our people, they're not in sync with Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. All right? So they don't know when it's time to build and when it's time to, the Ecclesiastes speaks about a time for everything. Let's grab that real quick. But our people don't know. Like right now, they don't know this is a time of war. This is a time of, this is actually a time of war. And rebuilding is what we're doing now. We're rebuilding the house of Yahweh as in the old days, the ancient days of David, King David. So, but the majority of our people, they're not in that spirit. They don't know. All right? Let me see here. It might be like verse. Yeah, here we go. Verse Ecclesiastes 3:1. "To everything there is a season, and a time every purpose under the heaven." All right, so there's always going to be a season, and we're in the season. We know that we're in the season of the end. We're in the season of World War III is about to be upon us. Let's keep reading. "A time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, and a time to pluck up that which is planted." All right? Everything. There's a time for everything. But the nation of Israel, they're in slumber. They're in darkness, gross darkness, really. Meaning extreme darkness. There's no light on them. The majority of our people are wicked as hell. They're not focusing on the kingdom. They don't even have their thoughts and their mind on the kingdom. They're too busy just being wicked here in Babylon, and all the nations where they've been driven. So let's keep reading. "A time to weep, a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance." Like right now, if you're in the right mindset, this is a time of mourning. But our people are not in that mindset. They're not mourning, right? They're not mourning. They don't even know what to mourn for because they think they're in good case. They think they're, they can just keep working every day in Babylon, America, and some of them have dreams here in in Babylon, America, not knowing the times, not knowing that this is a time of war, and World War III is going to be the end-all, be-all. But they don't consider that because they're not in the right mindset, right? It says a time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, right? A time to get and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away, a time to rend and a time to sow, and a time to keep silence and a time to speak. Now, our people don't know any of this, right? Our people will speak out their ass, man. They even come to the camps and speak out of turn and speak out of pocket, speaking on things they don't understand. You know? Our people are a mess, man. It says a time to love, a time to hate, a time of war, and a time of peace. And you think we're in a time of peace right now? Because the majority of our people think we're in a time of peace, that there's nothing going to happen, and their inward thought, because they're like the heathen, they think like the heathen. They think their inward thought is that their dwellings, they're going to dwell here forever. You know, they're going to pass on, generations to generations. Their descendants are going to be blessed. They think that America's, they think this place is going to continue. Because they don't know the scriptures, They don't hearken to the times. Let's go back to Haggai. So let's get back to it. Yahweh had to basically let him know, hey, it's about that time to start building up that second temple. It says, it is time for you, verse 4, O ye that dwell in your sealed houses, and this house lie waste. Talking about the nation of Israel. We were in captivity, right? Now therefore, thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways. Ye have sown much, and bring in little. Ye eat, but ye have not enough. Ye drink, but ye are not filled with drink. Ye clothe you, but there is none warm. And he that earneth wages to put it into a bag with holes. What does that sound like? Why does that sound familiar? Because that's how you people here in Babylon, you Israelites, even though I was just talking about you don't want this place to end, and you don't know what time we're in, you don't consider the times, you don't consider Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. This is your life right here. The Lord's saying, hey, you're living paycheck to paycheck. You try to save money, and your fucking transmission will go out. You gotta spend the money you saved. Bags with holes in it. Put your wages in the bag with holes. That's what it's talking about. You can try to get ahead in Babylon, and sometimes you can, sometimes you do all right, but then you also learn and you realize that just as quick as you got ahead, in the same fashion, you can lose that savings or that money or that fortune you once had. And it goes back to Micah. Let's go real quick to Micah. Micah 2:10 says, arise ye and depart, for this is not your rest, because it is polluted. Babylon, America is polluted, man, in so many ways, right? The people are corrupt. The men don't know how to lead. The women are, out of control, polluted, spiritually, physically, mentally. These women are out of their mind, a lot of them, It says, it shall destroy you even with the sword destruction, right? If you don't hearken to the prophets, you don't take heed to the Lord's messengers, well, guess what? Then you're gonna be a part of that sword destruction. You're not gonna receive salvation as an Israelite. And everything's preordained, predestinated, everything's fixed, if you will. But if you have a ear, let him hear. It's like it always says in the scripture. And who's going to have that ear is going to be the people, the members of the elect, the remnant of the nation of Israel, the 1/3 of Israel that's going to repent from their wicked ways. All right, let's go back to Haggai 1. And verse 7 says, Thus saith Yahweh of hosts, consider your ways, go up to the mountain and bring wood, and build the house, and I will take pleasure in it, and I will be glorified, saith Yahweh. Right? And we know that during the time of Cyrus, the Persian king Cyrus, he allowed us to start to build that second temple. That was destroyed, right? The first temple, the Babylonians destroyed the second temple, the Romans destroyed, and then this temple that we're building now, which is a spiritual temple, which is the men, Esau Edom, he's trying to destroy it. He's trying to hinder the building of this the third temple. All right, and that's why he's got guys like Vocab No Class Malone, trying to work against the Hebrew Israelites, and he's coined his own phrase. He calls it Hebrew Israelism, right? So he's against Hebrew Israelism. He's against the prophets. He's against the truth. He's a hired agent, But just like throughout the history of the Israelites, you always have the heathen that want to destroy the temples. Really, they want to destroy the nation of Israel. I haven't went here for a while. Let's go to Psalms 83. As we know, it tells you in Psalm 83, gives you a list of our enemies, right? It says, I'll start at 1. It says, a psalm of Asaph. Keep not silence, O God, the Most High. Hold not thy peace still, O Most High. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. And who hates us? The heathen nations. They have a natural, perpetual hatred towards the Israelites. Okay? Throughout history, it says in verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Right? They're always plotting. They're always, pretty much, now that here we're in Babylon, America, what do? They basically have a system set up for you Israelites to fail. Like some examples are, your families are broken. Majority of Jake grew up without a father to teach him how to be a man, and that's why you have all these effeminate men. This is all by design by these heathen nations. They did this on purpose, and they knew that we were going to be the ones in the ghettos and the barrios and all these lower income areas, and this is where these plagues are the most prolific. You see. So it's all by design, In the it was the 60s, really the 70s. That's when they started to take the mother out the house. They had what do you call it? It was back in the industrial industry in the early times of America, when America was starting to build itself up. You had the industrial age where the men, because families were farmers, in the beginning, and it got to a point where the men left the farm and they started working in the factories and in the railroads and really just, building up a nation. And that included our people, right? Even though our people were not treated fairly, they never got the same wages, even though they were doing this, harder, physically harder, demanding, work. It didn't translate with their income. They were paid less, even though they had to work harder. That's just been the nature of the Israelites underneath our oppressors. But you see, they set that up where back in the day, where they took the man off the farm, he had to go work in the industrial revolution, the factories, the railroads, doing all the building up this empire, which is called Babylon, the daughter of Babylon, right? And then towards the 70s, they started basically having that's basically kind of when the women's movements, women's rights was starting to flourish, where now you had women who were becoming, they left the house. First it was just the husband, and then pretty soon it was the wife. Now the wife is out in the work field, and that just opens up, it just opens up a opportunity for, unfaithful women, adultery, women getting popped by their co-workers, women getting popped by their bosses, You fast forwarded to the 80s, the 90s, and then the 2000s, and now, and all that stuff's just gotten more and more, it's worse. So now you have what you have now, just a mess. A bunch of women raising their own children, men who are going broke, they can't afford, sometimes men can't even afford to get their own place because they're paying child support, which that's another wicked thing, which is a wicked part of the system, because you're not supposed to be paying child support. That's not a script. That's not in the Bible. When a woman is to leave, she was to take. If a woman was to leave you in the ancient times, in the biblical time, she was to leave with nothing. She wasn't supposed to be rewarded with alimony and child support and Section 8 and all this shit where she could just go function on her own. And but that was the crafty counsel that they took, because they knew that this would destroy the families, right? So let's keep reading. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. So it's all by design. They were behind closed doors, progressing all of these things I just spoke on, right? There was one of the Rothschilds told, what was the guy's name? Shit, I can't remember. Russo? Elder Gabar always speaks about him. But anyway, he told, he asked the guy Russo, I think his last name was Russo. Well, he was an actor. I think he was the guy who directed the movie Trading Places with Eddie Murphy and what's the other guy? Dan Aykroyd. So anyway, the director of that movie, he became friends with one of the Rothschilds, right? And the Rothschilds told him, he asked him the question. He said, "Hey, why do you think we wanted the women to work and leave the house?" And I forgot what Aaron Russo said, but it was the wrong answer.